It's new. It's a very leaky. It's new. Welcome back to It's New. Hopefully, how you said, but we'll get into it. I'm going to talk about the Google data links. I actually spoke to Google for a little bit yesterday about it, and I got a statement, which is great. Mordy, what are you talking about since you just returned and left us for like several days to do other things?
I'm sorry, but isn't it better without me?
It is actually, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sorry. SEO expert warns, stay in your lane, traffic violation ahead.
Cool. And Greg?
If you are a spam reporter, you've got a couple new flavors that you can now submit.
And Crystal?
Talking about huge decline in links reported in Google Search Console.
All right, let's get into it. Okay, so Google has confirmed the search data leak, but urged caution. What I mean is Google's statement said, we would caution against making inaccurate assumptions about search based on out of context, outdated, and incomplete information. We shared extensive information how search works and types of factors that our systems weigh, while also working to protect our integrity of our search, of our results from manipulation. In short, basically, Google saying, yes, our thing was leaked. Google didn't say how they were leaked, but they did say it was leaked. So good job, Rand, Mike, on finding that leak and uncovering it. SEOs are having a field day with it. A lot of SEOs are like, this matters, this doesn't matter. You guys, they did it because they're trying to confuse everybody. They did it on purpose. It's a lot of stuff going on out there. Ultimately, the only thing I'm doing going forward for my SEO strategy is buying DA links. That's it, nothing else. No, but in seriousness, Google basically saying here in the statement that one, we leaked it. It was not we leaked it. It was leaked, not us. It was leaked. But if you're reading this stuff, doesn't mean that everything in there is actively used, was ever used. Maybe it was just used for testing at one point in time. Maybe it was used for something else, or maybe it was never used. And at the same time, we are not going to talk more about this because if you want to know every single detail there, we're not going to go ahead and share it with you. We're not going to tell you if links matter. We're not going to tell you anything here because we would never do that. Meanwhile, I posted a poll on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, asking people, will you trust Google going forward? Because everybody's like, Google lied to us. Google uses click-through data. Google uses dwell time. Google uses everything that Google said they didn't use. They use it because it's in this data. It's in this leak. And Google, and most people are saying 90% of the over 1,300 votes I have so far said, I'm not going to trust Google going forward. I think most of those people didn't trust Google at all anyway. But it's been interesting. So on that, it seems like some of you guys are itching to talk.
Is this Google's moment of ignore the man behind the
So I think they wanted to. I think they really did want to. I'm not going to take credit to this, but I think I was the only one they actually spoke to on the phone about this. They did send statements to people, and I really pushed a little bit to get a statement from Google on this. So I think it would have been better off if they ignored it instead of coming out with a statement 2 days later saying, we have a statement, because now the people who did reported on it again, but they got a statement. Two, people who didn't report on it and say they were waiting for a statement now are reporting on it. So it's all over the place. So I don't think it did any benefit for them to confirm it at all.
No, but they ignored the part that people were most interested in, which is like, hey, for all these years you've been saying that these are not things, and clearly they are things. Ignore the man behind the curtain.
No, but they're not. They commented on that, basically saying we don't know. You don't know if we use this stuff, even though it's there. We might not have used it.
It's a little like, come on.
And Barry, props to you. You saw.
Yeah,
this,
props to Barry.
This is true. Where some other publications were like, we don't know. This doesn't look real. And then the one thing is they're like, hey, this might be outdated. I don't know. I mean, this looks pretty like they had just uploaded this. Who knows? I guess again, take it with a grain of salt because you don't really know what's happening. But I mean, some of the stuff that we've heard is not utilized. At least we know it is being captured. We don't know what they're doing with it, but something like clickstream data from Chrome. I mean, that's still like that's a big deal. We've heard that. Now, what do they do with it? Who knows? But it is a it's in there.
And I think that, I saw Rand's post about it, and he was saying that he's spoken to people who have said that, this looks legit, like this looks pretty robust and things like that. I had a quick look through some of it, and it looks fairly, I'm not a search engineer necessarily. I'm not an API builder, but like it looks pretty solid to me. So I think that that's interesting, but it is true. It is also true that like the algorithm, as we refer to it, has many twists and turns and many iterations. So it could very well be that some of it's live, some of it's not, etc. So while I don't necessarily think you should take everything to heart to it, I do find it interesting, and I do like looking through some of the things as an SEO. There's a lot of "I told you so" moments in it, and I think that a lot of people are feeling like I knew it the whole time, and so it kind of feels that way, and I think that the core in Mike's post at the end of it, he says pay attention to correlation studies. And I think that is something that's really, really important, because even from Google's point of view, they've got all this machine learning that's doing all this sort of stuff. If the correlation puts out a certain amount of results regularly, whether or not that's the intention, it's going to matter to websites. So I think that's interesting as well.
I think it all kind of stacks up. Like if you look at, let's say, I'm focused particularly on the user behavior data. If you look what came out from the DOJ trial and the things they're talking about in this leak and the things they're talking with like nav boost, they very much align. So Google kind of saying like, no, if it looks like a duck, it talks like a duck, it's probably a pig.
Yeah, no, I totally, I agree with all of that. And I wouldn't shock me if they were kind of misdirecting us over the years, or maybe at the time they didn't use this data. I just think that it's also possible that they may have tested using click data and found it to be very messy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I think in terms of the folks who are speaking on behalf of the brand or talking to us about search, I do believe that they're doing that with the best will. And even with whatever systems they have in place, there's not necessarily the case that they can say, yes, this is this, no, this is that, because also the weight of what they say carries so much. So if they say one thing, if they say you should use bold text matters or something, everybody puts bold text everywhere. If you say FAQ, everybody puts FAQ things. So they have to manage those things as well. So I don't necessarily think like that people are just deliberate. I don't think at all that people were deliberately like trying to send people down the wrong path at all.
Right. Anyway, I think Rand and Mike deserve a kudos. I think we also, a lot of people probably watching this think, John Mueller and Gary-ish and some other Googlers are probably evil. I don't think that's the case. I really think they've communicated what they think is best for the community in their minds. So I don't think they did it with any ill intent. And again, we don't know. We really don't know if it was used for testing or anything like that. So I'd be careful what we say and just be respectful of people. That being said, I know, Mordy, you want to dig into how this algorithm works with core updates. So,
yeah, well, to that point, the advice around SEO, I think, kind of stays the same. And again, I agree, like, take everything with a grain of salt and, like, everyone just chill a little bit. Like, it's not a time to start, like, throwing people off, like, boats or anything like that. So Glenn Gay put out a great article about what? That's not funny? It's funny. Anyway. Glenn Gay put out a great article.
Were you thrown off a boat over? That's why you weren't here for that?
I was trying to think, like, what are you, like...
Is that why you were gone? You're off a boat?
I jumped off the boat. Glenn Gay put out a great article about a case study from the last core update, the March 2024 core update. I had some great analysis in there about how to look at the ranking patterns and show you how Google's looking at you. The case in particular is, this site kind of is in Google's gray area of being rewarded or not rewarded. But one of the things he talked about in the case study was the site created a lot of tangential content, meaning it's content that was sort of related to the site's main focus and what the site was mainly about, but not exactly. And it was a little bit on the lower quality side. And the site for a while ranked really well for that content. And they were like, let's keep going because we're ranking. And Glenn's point was, yeah, you're ranking now, but ultimately you were probably going to get hit at some point or another. And one of the really interesting points, and this goes into what we're talking with the leaks, is that it had a lot of great links from a lot of great websites, and it still tanked. And one of the reasons that Glenn thinks that this may have happened was, yeah, you might have gotten the links, but the content wasn't great, and the user actually shows up, the user behavior metric, the nav boost side of things is going to look and like, wait a second, maybe this shouldn't rank because the actual user is bouncing. The user behavior is not aligned with the link profile. Okay, there's a conflict now. Now let's tank it after we rewarded it. So it goes to show you, and on a soapbox, that if you're going to do things like, oh, links are now what we officially know, and you're going to get the links, yeah, you have to get the links, but you have to get them for the right reason, which is the content is really great, because even if you do get the links and the content's not great, there's other parts of the algorithm that are going to see that and now demote the rankings.
Got it. So buy less DA, spend more money on Fiverr for people to click on your website and do stuff on your website. Got it.
Yes. Thank
I'll
you
do
for
that.
understanding exactly what I was saying.
That's sarcasm, just for anybody listening. All right. On that, if people are outranking you, well, we should probably go ranking you, and you see they're doing some scrupulous things. I heard there's some type of new spam reporting tool.
Yeah, so in the spam reporting tool, Google added a few new items that you can report. So this was caught by Barry at Search Engine Roundtable, full write-up, but you can now report on expired domain abuse and site reputation abuse. Google also updated the help documentation to explain that the expired domain abuse is an expired domain name that was purchased and reportedly or repurposed primarily to manipulate search rankings, and site reputation abuse is those third-party pages that are published with little or no first-party oversight, where it's taking advantage of the first-party site's ranking signal. So if you see that, people are still taking advantage of it, you can fill that out on the spam reporting tool.
Crystal, have you ever reported anybody in that tool? You on the record?
Me?
I've never reported anyone in that tool. I've reported some dodgy search results, generally speaking, but I've never.
You didn't report me? Oh, I'm flattered.
I only report Mordy. That's it. But that's why all your links are gone, right, Crystal?
Yeah, so people are reporting that in Google Search Console that they're seeing a big decline in the links that are showing in the links report. So basically, when you go and you look on the links report, it tells you how many external links. People are seeing a big reduction in the number of links that they're counting there. So for instance, Barry shared a screenshot from Search Engine Roundtable showing that today or this week anyway, he's seen around 177,000 external links, but in May it was showing that he had 287,000 links. People are wondering if this is a bug or if this is something more, but more screenshots from Barry are showing that the links have been declining for a while. So June 2023 showed 200,000, around 215,000. And then July 2022 had around 500,000. So and even before that there were millions, and before that there were millions as well. So we're seeing a sort of steady decline in that. And to be honest, I think that I personally, my personal hunch is that this is more of a reflection of Google reducing how much it's crawling and reducing how much it's indexing. Certainly, I remember seeing looking up Jennifer Lopez, for instance, and the number of search results that were showing for Jennifer Lopez, and it went from billions down to a couple millions. Yankees is another one. We discussed this on the podcast, Mordy, where it used to show millions and millions, and now it shows 72 because if you can't figure out what you need from Yankees, you either need the stadium or you need the tickets or you need some merch. Otherwise you need to be more specific about what you're trying to get. So I think that Google's kind of reducing some of the things they're indexing, and I think that might be what that's a reflection of.
Right, they don't need to index anything anymore because they have the AI overviews handling everything, so it's all good.
Just buy the links in the DA. You're good to go.
Yes. On that note, all right. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
See you next week.
Bye.